These are 5 book recommendations for anyone who is a beginner in the fantasy genre. First recommendation I would give to anyone is The Hobbit. The Hobbit is the prequel to The Lord of the Rings, which is the most famous fantasy trilogy in the history of fantasy. I would give this one a shot before you give The Lord of the Rings a shot. Anyone who reads this will just want to dive into the genre even more because it is absolutely magical. And I think most people remember the first time they read this as one of the more magical fantasy moments they've ever had. The next thing that I would tell anyone to get involved in is Brandon Sanderson's writing, but mostly Mistborn. This book is a wonderful beginning point for anyone who wants to get into the genre, and I believe that many people out there would tell you that the first book they ever read and what made them a constant fantasy reader is Mistborn. This is a wonderful access point for anyone. If you really want to get involved and know what modern fantasy looks like, read this book. Another book that I would recommend to beginners is The Lies of Locke Lamora. If you have found yourself not a major fan of the wizards and the magic and medieval worlds, then I would recommend The Lies of Locke Lamora. It is more of a character study than many other fantasy books that I've ever read, and these books will tell you about friendship, they'll tell you about loyalty, it will keep you locked in. This is one of the best novels I've ever read, and it's perfect for beginners. Another book that I would recommend is The Shadow of What Was Lost. This is the first book in the Lycanius trilogy, and I think it's a good start for anyone. It is a debut novel, which I think makes it an exciting starting point because it's your first fantasy read, it's a debut novel for this person, it's their first crack at fantasy. I think you'll find the story absolutely fascinating. The third book absolutely blew me out of the water. This will set you up for a truer appreciation of some of his more recent works in The Will of the Many and The Strength of the Few. The last book, and absolutely not least, is Malice. This is the first book in The Faithful and the Fallen. If you want to get your hands into classic fantasy, but with a more of a modern twist on it, so it's going to feel very fast-paced. The world building is not going to be as much of a difficult time. It will keep you in it from start to finish. It truly, the action scenes at times can feel like a movie. It's such a wonderful story, and if you're interested in more of a classical fantasy, this would be a wonderful place to start. You will not want to put this entire series down until you're finished.